I think overall the world is struggling with creating jobs. And countries like India, for example, are putting in 1 million people every month, month after month into the job market. And it's hard for even India to find jobs for everyone. Globally, technology, slower economies are all creating pressure on jobs. And when jobs are at stake, it's the emotions that take over. And I think the job for us here at ICC is to fight emotions with facts. The US under Obama administration put out a heavy duty on import of tires, automobile tires. They saved 1,200 jobs, and that's a fact. But every job costed them $900,000 to save. So it's not a good trade. We must be open. We cannot repeat the mistakes of 1930s when the world went inwards and the whole global economy collapsed. We need to look forward.
How concerned are you about Brexit and the potential disruption that's going to cause for trade, particularly in Europe?
Well, I think this is part of the discourse. When you talk about new administration in the US, you talk about Brexit. These are the new areas of discussions around these emotive subjects of anti-immigration, stopping the movement of people, securing local jobs. So Brexit is an outcome of that. The vote, when it came out, I was in Scotland on that day and I saw Sutherland in the night going the other way, and I was quite shocked. And I didn't expect this outcome. But I am hopeful that the United Kingdom will come out of this fairly strongly, because in the end, this is an important nation to the world. The current budget spoke about certain concessions to the businesses. So I think UK will find its own momentum. But I would really want it to see being part of the common market. They must negotiate a good deal. They cannot isolate themselves. They need to be part of the world global trading system.
But do you think Brexit potentially gives the UK the opportunity to forge stronger trade ties with countries like India?
That it does, because India has been locked down with a lot of EU issues. And some of the trade issues that we wanted to resolve with the UK, we couldn't in the past. And we had Prime Minister May in India 2 months back. And I think there was a momentum towards that given that it'll be an independent country outside now the control of EU, India should benefit.
Now, while we have you here, you run India's biggest mobile phone operator, Bharti Airtel. You're currently number one. Vodafone and Idea Cellular, the 2 and 3 players, are getting together, leapfrogging you. Do you welcome this deal?
I welcome it. In fact, I had welcomed it even before it was announced, because it makes eminent sense to consolidate the market. I'm also the chairman of GSMA, that's a global telecom body. And last month in Barcelona, I made an appeal to the regulators around the globe, allow and encourage consolidation. You can't have 12 players in a market and then be viable. With this merger, I think we'll be down to 4 operators in India, and that will be a right level of competition, right for the customers, but equally right for the balance sheets of these companies. Voda and Idea coming together forms a strong, formidable balance sheet, a good, strong player. But my own view is this is also, in some sense, Vodafone's saying goodbye to India.
Really? You think ultimately this is a first step on them quitting India altogether?
I would say so. Vodafone is not used to just being an investor in a minority shareholding, but if they have to orderly come out of the Indian market, this is the best way to do it.
Of course, some would say that ultimately they could go the other way and take full control of this joint venture.
Unlikely.